In the last video, I talked about real-life games. What happens is a video game and a real-life thing have the same goals or ideas in mind, so it ends up looking the same, in the same way that SimCity has the same goals, because it's a city simulator game, looks like Phoenix, Arizona, because they do look alike. And you'll find this in stores and in all these other places. And I thought I'd show you what I mean when I'm talking about level design. Let's start off with a little complex here. Pretend you're looking top down at this, and this is a map. And you place someone at any corner and then have a goal at another corner. This person will have to go through multiple areas to get to where he needs to go. And while he's passing by there, each one of these circles would be some interesting thing for him to look at. Thus, when he finds himself somewhere else, he can tell where he's going and what he's doing at any given point. The same thing works within a mall or other places. It's just the same goals because we only have so many ways of creating architecture. Here is a simpler system. Each one of these little points where the squares kind of open up or have a space. Once again, this is a top-down view, and pretend like you're walking through. And if you look, you can see just these meeting points where if you had two conflicting people meet each other, two enemies meet each other, that would be a major kind of a blockage point where they would majorly battle. And your choices are to battle it to the end right at that point, or maneuver around using the other points. And that same idea is used within most public architecture. That's simple boxes and circles that you're looking at. This is actually the same as the circles you saw beforehand, just in a specific point. And we just keep going with that pattern until we have an area. Don't believe me? Look at this. Here's a map of a mall. I have no idea where it is. And you'll see the same kind of meeting points. And by the way, those meeting points create a great place for, an eating spot or some place to kind of slow down, because that would be the good idea. And then all the other smaller areas, those would either be doors, as you can see, or those are places where you could put up little stands for other stores. So then people will automatically try to go around them, and it eases the flow of people. This might be an incredibly crowded area, but because people are just moving, and the only way they stop is to go into the store, you don't have as much congestion. The same thing works with roads and with anything else you can think of. Well, if you look at the map, this is a Counter-Strike map. This is the office. Some of you are going to be like, oh yeah. And you'll see the same thing, those meeting points, those spots, it looks very, very similar. The reason why is there's only so much we can do. Only so many designs are created for you to do things. So with that limited amount, you start to see similar things within video games. Our goals are for you to look at your sides. Everything's going to be on the sides, and this open area here we'll make kind of decorative, and we'll put specific things in there so that you know where everything is, and that's how it's going to happen. Then we're going to place weenies. This is from a trip I did on Saturday to Cabela's, and I specifically took these pictures because I wanted you to kind of see how they kind of control your mind, or how they use your mind a little. Each picture that you're looking at is a different area. If this were a map, each one of these would be in the same area on the map. So those guns are a little to the right. And actually below there is a cafeteria, but I never went in and I never took a picture, so there it is. And then you see kind of this entrance area. And then you have the kind of rhino exhibit up and to the right. And then you have the fish exhibit up and to the left, and way off in the back you have the shooting range, light gun shooting range. And then down on the left near the cashier area is a nice place for fudge and for old-timey stuff. And all of these things help you know where you are and know where you're going. It creates kind of a map in your mind without you even realizing it. And the reality is, you can see these circles. See that giant thing in the middle? That's specifically so that people just don't all just kind of meet in and have this kind of meeting point. Instead, we're telling them to go around. And that's how they do it. They set up this kind of circular area. And at each point of this kind of compass, you can find a different thing to keep your mind in goals. And that's what a weenie is just something that you can see off in the distance and you know what it is, and it helps keep you oriented on where you are and what you're doing. But we don't have a lot of terms within video games on these kinds of things. This is a book on level design for Duke Nukem 3D, and what you're looking at, although you probably can't read it, is the entirety of how to make a theme or making a memorable level. 2 pages. The book by Quake is a little bit more, and there are books on level design specifically, but they do get mostly technical. They don't get into this simplified system that I've just explained to you. They don't have a lot of terms. Next video, we're going to explain the reason why they don't have a lot of terms, and the reasons why back in the 90s when video games or 3D levels were just starting and they started to get into this system that you just saw, had kind of these weren't really understanding what they were doing. And you'll understand why we don't talk about weenies or anything like that openly. That's early level design. See you. It's not going to be the 13th. It's probably going to be today. But I'll see you all later.